Danny Segura for MMA Junkie. I'm here with Jason Jackson, who returns at the end of the month, July 22nd, in the main event of Bellator 283 against former champion Douglas Lima. Jason, how are you, man? Thank you for taking time to talk to us here at MMA Junkie.
All is well, and thank you for guys for having me.
Of course, man. And look, big fight for you. Pretty important fight. Not only are you fighting, obviously, a former champion in Douglas Lima, but first main event that you're having in the company here. That must be pretty special, right? You're stoked about that?
Yeah, I'm excited to show everybody that I'm championship material. So
Yeah. And obviously 5 rounds that changes. You get your face on the poster and all that. I know we're still a little bit away from fight week, but have you gotten sort of the love from at least the promotional side of the main event? Have you noticed it change a little bit compared to your other fights that weren't main events?
no, that's I've been seeing Douglas get all the love,
Okay, well, you're getting some love here, so don't worry, my man.
and I'm excited when I see him getting all the love because I know after the
Yeah.
fight I'm gonna be getting love because I'm gonna get my hand raised
Hmm. Do you feel like you're being a little bit underestimated?
always, and that's what adversity always make me come out on top.
Yeah, 100%. And bizarre, right? If that's the case, because you've been on a super impressive winning streak and you've been taking out some of the biggest names in the company. Does it come to you as a surprise, that feeling that you're feeling a little bit underestimated, given what you've done?
Yeah, a little bit because I just feel like I could be promoted and a little bit more, but at the end of the day, once I go out there and do what I need to do and get this win, then they'll have no choice.
Hmm. Yep. And obviously, this is a huge fight, as I mentioned, for 170 pounds, a huge fight for your career, huge fight for the promotion as well. The welterweight division is kind of tricky right now. Do you feel like this would be a title eliminator? How do you feel this fight fits in the landscape, current landscape at 170 pounds?
Absolutely, title eliminator. This is a title eliminator fight right here for sure. I was told by source, so let's go because I was already next in line for the shot.
Right. Yeah. And just real quick, and I want to follow up on that you mentioned, but just your thoughts on Douglas Lima. Obviously, a guy that's had a lot of history in the company, not in the best streak right now, 3-fight losing streak. Do you feel like his better days are over? Do you feel like he's not the same fighter he once was?
You know, he's not the same fighter that he was, and I'm not gonna say his days are over, but he just have a tough matchup on his hand, and you know, I'm a dangerous fighter for anyone in the world right now, so it's just
Hmm.
not him. But even if back in the days in his prime, I still would be a tough fight for him.
Yeah. So you feel like he's not in his prime? Do you feel like, or at least towards the end of it, or do you feel like
No,
he's had
not
better days before?
prime.
Like overall, when you look at the tape, what would you say are the difference between the Douglas Lima that we've been seeing in his recent performances and the one that we saw win the championship belt?
Youth, definitely he was younger, and for some reason he was a lot more faster,
Hmm.
and I felt like he was more hungrier. But I felt now he won a couple of mil, just not hungry no more. And now I'm the one that's hungry. I'm the one that's the hungry wolf right now, the hungry lion, ready to
Hmm.
go myself and show the world that it's a new era. That's TAKM era, the African machine era.
For
It's my time,
sure.
and they're not going to keep denying me.
Most definitely, man. I think that's undeniable. You're killing it right now. You're in a streak. What would you say that sort of what clicked for you, or what do you attribute this sort of recent run, this form that you're in? Because as I mentioned multiple times throughout this interview, you've been looking amazing, and you've been again knocking out some of the biggest names in that weight class.
Yeah, my fight with Ed Roof, I felt like what it was, how I came into the promotion and they had me as a huge underdog, and I felt like they was bringing me to lose to Ed Roof because I took it on such a short notice coming in from a title fight from LFA, and I beat Ed Roof, but and they kind of robbed me on that decision. And when I went back and watched the fight, and I realized, like, man, they had this guy as the best in the world, and I felt like I was nowhere close to my potential of fighting him. And if I go out there and push a little harder, no way they're gonna be able
Mm,
to stop.
yeah. And you had mentioned just a few minutes ago how you're hearing this is going to be a title eliminator, and clearly you've been primed already for an opportunity to fight for the belt. Right now, Loganstorley, your teammate, holds the interim title, and Amasov, obviously the champion, he's doing his thing in Ukraine. Unfortunately, with the war, he's been he decided to take up arms and help out his country. Um, More or less, I guess, what do you think is going to happen? Would you be open if that unification bout doesn't happen this year? If you win this fight against Douglas Lima, will you be open to fighting Storley for the interim title and have him defend that?
Why wouldn't I be open? He's already open already. He already said my name and said I'm next, and he's ready to go out there and put on a scrap with me. And I'm respectful and thankful and grateful for him for doing that. So I'm ready to if it comes down to me and him. But from teammate, I mean source that I train with in the gym that said Emerson is back and he's
Mhm.
gonna train and
Yeah, yeah,
fight.
that's my colleague from MMA Junkie, Nolan King, reported that he started to train again. We will see how soon he gets back to competition. Right, training is one thing, defending the title is another, but hopefully we see him back in action and all is good with him. Would you rather have them two fight each other and have that unification bout, and you fight for the real belt? For the undisputed title, or if it's quicker, does a fight for the interim title something that interests you more?
Bellator not gonna make it happen. So they want to unify the belt. So I don't think they ever had interim defend
Mhm.
belt in Bellator history. So they're not gonna go that route. So I'm just gonna work on knocking who I need to knock off. They line them up, and I just not keep knocking them off. But
Mhm.
I'm down for whatever. I'm a fighter, and that's what I love to do. So if that opportunity presents itself, that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're just kind of going with the flow, whatever sort of presents itself. That's what you're down for. And have you talked to Loganstorley about potentially fighting each other? How close are you guys in the training room?
No, we don't talk about that. We already talk. We probably talked about it years ago before you got to getting the intern. But other than that, up to this day, no, we don't talk about it. We just cordial.
Mhm. Yeah. Are you guys like friends or just teammates? Is it just like a business thing, or how would you describe your relationship with Logan?
It's cordial. It's neutral. Neutral.
Mhm.
I don't have any issue with him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how he feel. But I'm neutral.
Yeah.
But said it already. It's all business. But it's all business until business is taken care of. So
Yeah, most definitely. And if you had to say, would you rather fight Amasov and be the title fight with him or Logan Sterling? I mean, would that be a little weird because of the whole teammate situation? I'm guessing it'll bring up a different situation, training wise, at least logistically. I would assume.
I would rather fight Amazons
Mhm.
because he have undefeated record. So
That's true.
if I beat him, that means that said a lot for me.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And are you almost, I mean, as I mentioned, like you're pretty much undeniable at this point, like, right? You've been killing it. And you're on a streak, and there's a case to be made that you deserve the title fight, a few fights ago. Um, if you win this fight against Douglas Lima, are you gonna be in a position where, look, if or when are you gonna sort of be in a position where, look, if they do make this title fight, I want to stay busy. You know, fighting is your job. I'll take another top contender. Or are you kind of gonna plant your feet on the ground and be like, hey, look, whatever comes my way next, it's got to be a title fight?
Yeah, absolutely. I want the title fight, and that's what I'm going after. And that's the reason why I took this fight, because I want to show them title. You know, I'm title contender, worthy, and after I win, nothing, no other fight than the title fight.
Hmm. Yeah. And by the way, why when Bellator did the interim title fight, did they ever hit you up? Or you ever considered? I'm kind of wondering if you were part of the conversations on that, because clearly, obviously, you're a top gun in that division.
I was the first in line to go fight MVP, but I was having visa issues, so
Okay.
reason why I sat and wait to see if anybody actually falls out the fight. And then I just had a issue getting a visa, so kind of set
Right.
every.
Yeah. Right. That fight was in Europe. What'd you think of that fight? That interim title fight?
I don't think nothing. I just think definitely like I'm ready once I see that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I've never asked you this. I don't know if you remember. I used to interview you way back when you were kind of coming up through the fight time ranks. You know, I'm out here in Fort Lauderdale as well. That's like one of the things that I was first covering when I first started this career. And I remember interviewing you a couple of times. How'd you get your nickname, the ass kicking machine?
Oh, you
Just
know
kicking ass?
that too, and I was a huge fan of wrestling, so coming up and seeing the Rock team with the big red machine,
Hmm.
and they was just talking about kicking ass, and you know what I'm saying. So from there, the idea just popped in. It's like, yes, definitely, that's what I'm gonna go with. And once I announced it in the fight time, amateurs, everyone started laughing, like everyone in the arena except for me was laughing. And once I finished with my opponent, I was like, yeah, he really is the ass kicking machine,
Yeah.
and just stick there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of names have come out of fight time. That was something really nice that I got to cover, and then seeing a lot of people come out of there. Billy Quarantello being one of them, Nico Price. I mean, the list goes on. There's been some solid names. Yourself, obviously, some solid names to come out of that promotion. Um, and real quick, I know you've mentioned MVP before and having interest in fighting him. Obviously, you were briefly discussed, before the visa issues to go fight him for the interim title. He's now switching over to the bare knuckle boxing world against Mike Perry. Thoughts on that?
Well, MVP is the biggest name in London, so if there's an opportunity to capitalize on that market with bare knuckle, he is the one, especially against a stud opponent like Mike Perry that holds such a huge name in the bare knuckle world nowadays. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for him, and I'm going to be watching, tuning in to see him go to work. Because he represent that B brand, Bellator,
Of course, yep.
rooting for him. And if anything plays out and he want to come back, because I know he always want to share the cage with me, I'm here. I'll be here waiting. You know.
Yeah, that's a fight that you won at some point.
Yeah, definitely big fight
Yeah, for sure.
of
All right,
beating
man.
up.
Well, I appreciate the time. Looking forward to this fight again. Bellator 283, July 22nd. Jason Jackson headlines his first event under the Bellator banner against former champion Douglas Lima. That is a fantastic contest. You cannot miss it. Possibly, probably, and I hope that it will define the next title challenger at 170 pounds. Clearly, a huge match, my man. You deserve it. So, thank you so much for your time, brother, and best of luck in this fight.